Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Sew in Common. I'm Diana, and today we're going to be talking about doing custom quilting on panels with my Quilt Embellisher software. If you already own my Quilt Embellisher, awesome. If you don't and you want to look into it, you can go to Dime's webpage. This is their custom quilting software at that address, or check with your local fabric retailer who sells Dime products. See where you can maybe get the best deal. I do not get paid anything to show you this software. This is the software that I use to do this technique that I want to share with you. And I know a lot of you probably already own the software, but if not, you can take a look there. So today we're going to talk about custom quilting with panels. Typically, when we think about panels, we think about slapping on some edge-to-edge quilting and being done with them. But panels today have gotten pretty amazing. They've become really like works of art on fabric, some of them. Think like the Hoffman Dream Panel. Awesome, beautiful piece of artwork. And once it's quilted, boy, oh boy, does it look incredible. And the techniques I'm going to show you today and tomorrow, because tomorrow there's going to be another video. I'll explain that in a second. But these techniques that I'm showing you work exactly the same way if you want to custom quilt your Hoffman Dream Panel. I know a lot of folks do it with free motion over on their sewing machine. But some folks are like, I'm not into that. Can I do it on my embroidery machine? And you can. I know at the Hoffman panel, you can buy designs already created as a package. It's like $65. And then they're all the same. Everybody's Hoffman panel looks the same once it's quilted. By making your own quilting, custom quilting for the Hoffman Dream Panel or any panel, you're making your own very unique piece of art and your quilt. So everything I show you today and in tomorrow's video that's coming tomorrow afternoon. So today is Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022. Tomorrow, November 23rd, 2022. In the late afternoon, the second video will come out. It will come out earlier if I can get it edited. It's always the editing that takes a little bit of time. So if it's as soon as it is done, it'll go out, but it'll for sure be done probably by about 3 or 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, Central Standard Time. So today's video and tomorrow's video work in conjunction. Today, we're going to talk about creating just the custom quilting. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about working with templates for it, because you need templates to get your designs in the right place, and stitching it out on the machine. So we'll be mostly at the machine tomorrow. We won't be working much in the software. Okay, so why don't we go over the things you're going to need? You're going to need a panel, any panel at all. Today I'm going to be showing you a Christmas gnomes panel that I'm doing as a little wall hanging in for our home for the holidays. So you're going to need your panel, and you're going to need to measure it. Not any like white outside, nothing you're going to cut off, just the art piece itself. The width from edge to edge and the height from top to bottom. Okay, you're going to need those two numbers, and I'll show you why in a moment. And you can also use a tape measure, like the kind that goes around your waist, which we will not be doing any measuring of waist today, I promise you. You can lay this along the edge of your panel, because you're going to need to take a photograph of your panel. Really easy to do. Grab your phone, make sure the whole panel is in the picture, everything is straight, and snap your picture. No problem, okay? And then after you've done that and you've written down your width and height, then you're ready to move into the software. So tape measure, height and width on a little notepad, have your pen, those are basically the things you're going to need today, and your panel and the software, okay? So let me share my screen with you, and let's go into the software. So here is the little panel that I'm going to do today, but I'm actually going to delete it because I want to show you how you bring it in. I said earlier about the Hoffman Dream Panel. This is actually one I'm getting ready to work on. My panel just arrived in the mail last night. I thought this beautiful scarlet one, it's called, is beautiful for the holidays because of the green and all in there. And so this is going to be a wall hanging quilt for another area of my home. So you can do the Hoffman Dream Panel, any panel that you want, but let's bring in a clean work surface right up here. Now, I know I'm in my Quilt Embellisher because it's all lit up over here and it's checked telling me that I've activated my software, but we've got our clean work surface and we need to bring in our photograph of our quilt. So there is a folder built into this software. Let me show it to you. If I go to File and go to Open, if I go to PC, now I am on a PC. If you're on a Mac, your filing system may be different, but you will get to these, you can get to these same folders. So I'm going to click Windows. And when I click Windows, there's a dime folder in there from when I uploaded the software. And if I click on that, there's one that says backdrops. And that's where all of my backdrop photos are. So that's where I load my picture in. That's where I would save my picture. You can save your picture anywhere you want. It's just easier to save it in that folder. Now I'm going to come over here in the software to this button called Backdrop Tool. And when I click on it, I can come in and find that folder and open it up. So if I click Windows, click Dime, click Backdrops, here are a bunch of folders I've saved for things that I'm doing. So there's my panel. And I brought it right in. Super easy to do that. Now I need to tell the software how big is this panel, right? And so all you're seeing here, basically, there's a little bit of stuff down in here, but don't worry about it. The measurements I'm going to put in are only for the actual panel. So I'm going to come over here, and my panel is 23 inches wide, and it adjusted my height to 32.97. My actual width is 33, close enough for government work. Okay, so I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to apply there. Now my panel in the software is the size that it is over on my design wall. But there's one more measurement per se that I need to see. See all these little these little numbers up here? That is a 1 inch difference from 1 to 2, from 4 to 5. All that is a 1 inch difference. If I really zoom in my panel, I can easily see my numbers better. So now it's still an inch, okay? I want to come over here to the backdrop tool and click the drop down box and click define scale. By defining the scale, we're telling the software the scale that we're using when we're creating the custom quilting. So I'm going to start there. On the one, hold down my mouse key, and I'm going to draw it across to the next 1 inch mark. There we go. And I'm really close there. I got in at 0.99, but I can change that to read exactly 1 inch now. That's whatever it comes in with, doesn't matter. You can change it, okay? But having that ruler there helps act as a guide for me. And then I click OK. Helps act as a guide for me. If you put in your measuring tape, you can go from 1 inch to the next inch on your measuring tape if you prefer to use that. I use my measuring tape when I remember, but if I don't, I just zoom in so I can see my inch marks and I do what I just did. So now my software knows the size of my panel and it knows the scale for the designs that I'm going to be creating. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the idea of custom quilting. I said before that when we do edge to edge quilting, it's just edge to edge on a panel and that's all we do, right? And that's fine, especially if you're just going to make something that's going to be a throw and it's not going to like hang on a wall or something. Maybe you just want it to be edge to edge quilted. Not a problem there. Maybe you're making it for a child or something. Edge to edge works perfectly. But if you really want to enhance this and you're going to do it, especially as a wall quilting, look what happens when you start to add in your custom quilting. Here's the one I'm creating. that I'm working on. And you can see here, all of these areas I've chose to put my custom quilting design. Now you'll notice on the sleigh, I didn't do really all that much custom. It's a custom shape, but I filled it with just some stippling. And I'm going to do some custom quilting on my trees. I'm not going to do any quilting on my noses and on the brim of the hat, the hands, the axe. I'm not doing any quilting. On the outer edges in this black sky area, again, I'm going to do a stippling. On my snow area down here, I'm going to do another custom quilt design. Remember that the more you quilt something, the stiffer it becomes. So if you want this to be a little bit flowy for something that you're doing as a couch quilt to cover up with, your edge to edge works great for that because it's nice and loose and flowy. But for your more enhanced quilting or custom quilting for wall designs and all, these places are going to make the quilt a little, not a lot, but a little bit denser. And so it's going to be a little bit stiffer, which isn't so bad for the wall, but you don't want it so stiff that it won't move at all. So I'm doing some very specialty quilting and then some more generalized stippling for that. So it still has some movement, but it has some parts that are really, spectacular. So let's come back into our piece of artwork that I have here. I'm all set up. Now all I have to do is start creating the custom quilting. And I need to choose basically what do I want to do. I know I'm going to do the beards of my 3 little gnomes. I'm going to do their hats and the Christmas trees and the sleigh. So why don't we start out right in the center here with our center gnome. Now I'm going to zoom in so that I can see it easier. First thing I want to do is come up to this button that says Note and click on it. And you see it popped in right there. Right over here in this window, I'm going to put the number 1 because I need to number each one of these custom pieces so that I know which files I'm going to use when I transfer them over to my machine and get ready to do the quilting. So I've given it a number 1 and I'm going to apply. Now it's very small, so I'm just going to come in here and drag that out and make it a little bigger, put it in the center. This isn't going to stitch out. This is just a piece of artwork, so you know when you print off your templates, which we'll talk about tomorrow, that you know which template, which design, and where it goes on your panel. Now I'm going to come down here and right-click on the black color swatch and make that number black so it stands out from everything else. Now I can create the quilting, and it's super easy. I'm going to start up here with my run stitch button and I'm going to hold down the control key on my keyboard. Why? Because I want this to curve as I'm creating the outline. So let's say I don't hold down the control key and I start doing the outline here. It's not doing it too badly. But now it's starting to do rougher pieces. See, like that? So if I don't want that to happen and I want it to curve onto everything, once you click on your run stitch, hold down your control key. Now you're going to start and you're just going to click and follow the outline of the parts that you're going to quilt. So I'm just coming around the hand here, coming down. It will even allow me to get into these little nooks and crannies of his beard so that it's really taking on that shape. And I'm just coming all the way around. Now it's important when you do this that you start and stop in the same place because this is what we call a closed quilting design. And come right back up here to my first one. There, I've outlined the beard and I'm going to come over to here and click set. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to come up to and say copy and paste. That created another run stitch. So there's one, there's the other. And now I'm going to come over here and I'm into my transformation box and I'm going to make this second one 90%. Because it's going to give me a little See how it made a little outline? Now I have a little border. Now that I have this area done, I can now fill it with a custom quilt design from the software. So here we have motifs, we have stippling, we have advanced stippling, and boy, there are a lot of advanced stippling designs in there. You'll use those a lot with your custom quilting. You can also do contour quilting and echo shape quilting as well. So let's start out with our advanced stippling, and let's choose something, but let's think about this for a second. I'm doing his beard here. Let's go back to the one I've already done. I wanted the beards to look like they had a little bit of movement to them, like they would be like, longer pieces, shorter pieces. You know how beards are, right? And have a little movement. So I chose designs that tended to look like they had movement, like the squiggly line here. This one looks like it's just kind of flowing back and forth. So those were the kinds of designs I looked at. So I'm going to come into advanced stippling, and I want to look at something. Oh, let's see. There's a lot of them in here, so I'm just going to keep coming down. I'm going to choose this one right here. I'm going to click OK. Now that brought it in, and it looks okay, but I'm going to make the pattern a little bit airier. So I'm going to change my pattern length here. So if you want to change your pattern length, you can do that. And I like that. So I'm going to come up here and say copy and paste and run stitch to fill in all the pieces that were open. Now I'm going to highlight the whole piece right over here, and I'm going to change my color, and I'm going to change it to this light beige for my beards. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to group everything. And I'm going to turn on my realistic view, and there is my first beard done. Okay, now I can save it and create my template right now. So super easy to do to save my design. Just highlight it, come up here and say copy, create a new workspace, say paste. There is my design. Now I come into file, click save as. I choose where I want to save this. I give it a name, and I'm going to say Gnome Custom Quilt number 1. Okay. And then in this drop down box, I'm going to choose my machine file format. All the machine file formats are offered up by Dime, Baby Lock Brother, Pfaff, Janome, Bernina, everything's in here, plus some professional formats as well. So I'll just choose mine and I'll click save. Now I have saved my design. Now I need to create my template. So let's come back into our piece here. It's highlighted. I'm going to come up here to my print preview button. And when I click on it, see what it does? It brings up my template right away. Okay. Now I'm going to come in here to settings. Yep. My cross stitch or my crosshairs is on. That's good. Let's see. Footwork, artworks. Let's see. There we go. So if you make sure and have artworks checked, it's going to bring in your number as well, because that number, which tells you which file this is a piece of artwork. It's not a piece of quilting. So if you don't click that artworks button, you won't get that number on there. Now, when you print this out and use it as your template, you'll know that that's the template that goes with your very first quilting pattern. Okay, so that's how easy it is to do those two parts. We'll go into more information tomorrow about the templates and putting your designs and all on your machine and doing the actual quilting, but I wanted to show you that while we had the first one up and ready. Okay, so area number 1 is done. Now I could move on to my next beard. That could be 2, that could be 2. I could decide, oh, let's go ahead and do the trees. I want to do the trees now. Okay, that's fine. Again, we're going to start by clicking on Note and dragging this up to whatever area we're going to do and putting in a number over here and clicking Apply. Make it a little, whoops. There, make it a little bigger so we can see it. I'm going to change it, the color, so I can see it. There we go. Now I'm ready to start doing my design. So I'm going to click on my run stitch, hold down my control key on my keyboard, and I'm going to outline my tree. Okay, now see what I've done here? Because I only did one click from there to there, I didn't get a smooth curve. So I'm going to delete that and I'm going to start that process again, because you get better detail in your lines if you do an extra couple of clicks here and there. If it doesn't matter to you, if your clicks are farther away from one another, you won't get quite the detail. And it might not matter in whatever piece you're doing at a specific time. But because this tree has a pretty good shape, I'm adding a few extra little clicks in here to get myself a better outline. Now, I'm at this junction here where this tree ends and this tree begins. I have a decision to make. Do I want to put quilting in my whole piece the same, or do I want to put different quilting on different sides? And I think I want to do different sides. So I'm going to come down here and click around and do just the single tree here. And when you're doing quilting on whatever panel you're working on, you'll get to that point in some of your spaces. It might something that maybe morphs together like those trees do. Do I want to do it all the same quilting or different quilting? Or maybe if you did that all in one quilting at one go, that design would be too big for your biggest hoop. If that's the case, then you definitely want to split it. So now I'm going to click Set. Okay. And I'm going to hit Copy and Paste and come over here and change this to a 90% and click Apply. There we go. There's my secondary shape. And now I'm going to fill it with a design. And I'm going to come over to my regular motif stitches. Let's look in here. I really love this one. Let's choose this one and see how it looks. Now that came in as really tight quilting on there. So I'm going to come over to my pattern length and I'm going to make that bigger. I want that a lot more airy. There, that's much better. I like that much better. Now I'm going to highlight everything there. Whoops, hang on. I'm going to highlight my quilting and say Copy, Paste, Run Stitch. So that gives the whole outline a nice stitch there. And now I'm going to highlight the whole thing. And I'm going to give it a color, and I'm going to choose green here. So I'm going to right click on my color. If I want to choose a different color from what's down here, let's say I'm never going to use that yellow. I'm going to left click on it, bring up my palette, choose my thread that I want to use, and then I would choose the color that I want to use. And then that will show up on my palette below and I can use it. But now let's click there. Now I know that's hard to see because I did it in green. So let's just click on it and let me make it white. There you can see it. So there's the actual quilting, but I'm going to do it in green. So I'm doing the green thread color there. This way I'm auditioning my thread colors on the actual panel. So I know if I'm going to like that or not. So that works out really well. Now I'm going to highlight this whole piece and I'm going to group it. If I want to go ahead and save it and create my template now, I would say copy and, whoops, not paste, go back one. I would highlight this and say copy, choose a new workspace, now say paste, and there would be my new design. And I would do that. Then I would come back over to my design and I would click my button to create my, hang on, why did that do both of them? Oh, it did both of them because they both fit. Both of these templates fit on the same piece of paper, but we don't want it to do both of them. We want it to do just the one. So I would make sure that I only did this one. Okay. In fact, let's do it from this design here. There we go. Now there's my design, and I'd need to put my number in it. So very easy to do that though. Just make sure that when you're doing it, you know which pieces you're looking at for when you're doing your stitching. Okay, so that's how we would work with this entire piece. Now, when I get all the pieces in here done that I want to do, and I'm ready to work on my outer edges here, my background of the gnomes and their sleigh, like I said, I want to do all of this black in a stippling. So this is going to take a wee bit of time. Now I'm not going to number this one because I know right now that if I did all of this as one piece of stippling, it would never fit in a hoop, right? That's 23 inches wide and 33 inches high. So I know I'm never going to fit that in there. So I need to figure out in my head how to break that up into spaces. So I might start here and work my way around my tree and come up here and come across and come down and fill that. So let's try that. Let's do our numbering. Drag that up here. Come over here, and I'm going to say, I'm going to call it background 1, okay? And click apply. Make that bigger. Now I can't see it in black, so this time I'm going to right click on my white swatch so that I can see it show up there. Now I'm going to do my tracing. I'm going to hold down my control key, and I'm going to do something a little bit different than we did before. I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to work my way around, and this line doesn't have to be straight. In fact, if it's straight, you're going to have to be really careful when you blend and put these pieces together. So if they're not completely straight, it'll actually work better for you when you're going to connect them. Now I'm just tracing my tree here. Again, maybe not do it completely straight on your edges, because you're going to have to, if you do, you're going to have to make sure and be really stringent with your matching up of your design. Now I'm going to click right there. Alrighty, and set it. And there is my design. Now, on these other designs, we did a copy paste and we added an inner border, right? But I don't want to do that here. I just want to fill that space with my stippling. So for this, I'm going to skip that second step where I made my second outline. I'm just going to now fill it with stippling. And to do that, I can come right here to my stippling and click stippling. It comes in as a maze stippling, but I can also do a Hilbert or a piano stippling. Hilbert looks to me more like the stippling we're used to, so that's what I'm going to change it to. Now that is dense as all get out. There is no way that you can do that dense. Your piece will end up being like cardboard. In fact, I doubt it would even stitch out for you. So we need to come right here to density and change it and make it more open. There, I like that. I like my stippling really nice and open. Now I am going to quilt that with a black thread. So there's my black thread. You can't really see it all that great. So let's highlight it and turn it white so you can see it. Now I could have done my stippling all the way up here to the edge and around, and that may be what I'm going to do. I'm not sure yet. But see how this is broken up here? Let's highlight now and do copy, paste, run stitch. And now there is a stitch to close off all of that. Okay. Now, the next part I want to do would probably be over here. I might come over to this point. So you're getting some kind of interesting design shapes, but it doesn't matter. They're going to fit your panel perfectly. And when we go tomorrow in tomorrow's video and I show you how you stitch these out, you're going to love how this ends up turning out. But remember, you can do this kind of quilting. Let's just go ahead and finish here and group it. There we go. There we have our design all grouped together. You're going to love how you can do this with your quilts. Now, let's come over to a new workspace and let's bring in our little gnomes again. And we're going to redo our sizing. I'm going to come in here again and I'm going to reset my scale because I want to show you something that you could do. Because remember, the quilting is yours to choose, yours to do. There we go. Oh gosh, I'm right on the 1 inch there. That's good. Okay, now let's come back out here. I move this. Let's hang on. I need to redo this. There we go. That's applied. Good. Let me reset here. And do my number and click OK. There we go. Click apply. There, I'm good. Okay, so now what we did in our previous one, there we go, is we've been adding custom quilting to the different parts of our panel, right? So fun, easy to do. But maybe all you want to do is add some quilting around the whole thing and leave all of this in the center. Maybe you want to come in and add some little, sorry, my phone is being goofy. Maybe you want to come into the beards and stuff and add little hot fix crystals or something. So maybe you don't want that part quilted, but you want everything, all the background quilted. Well, we can do that too. Let's come up and click our run button. Now this time, I'm not going to click my control button yet because I want straight lines. Let's see here. I'm trying to think. I have to work from my inside out, I guess, because I have to go around all of this. So we're going to start right here. Now I will hold my control button because I need to go over those little bumps. There we go. And I am just highlighting around my design, right? I don't even have to get right on the design. I just have to kind of trace around it. Super easy. So you can be as specific about where you put your points in this part as you want if you're going to do something like this. I'm not going to get down into here. I'm just going to go around here. And come down, come across to here. And now I need to go up. I could be a little, if I were doing this for real, I would be a little more I would work on that a little bit more. But so I've highlighted that whole background. Let's set it now. And now I could just come into my stippling. Or if I didn't want to do stippling, if I want to do something else, I could do that too. I'm going to change that density, click apply. And now I have quilting all around this part, and these guys are left open. Or if I didn't want stippling, I could come into my advanced stippling, which are more kind of motif-ish type designs. Let's click that one and see what it looks like. It's working. It's working. Software is thinking about it. Oh, wow. See how tight that came in? That's not going to work good. So let's actually make that different. There we go. That's a little better. I would make it even a little bit wider. So you could do something like that. I like the regular stippling better than that, but you can choose the quilting that you use all on your own. Okay. So very simple to do. If I wanted to do the whole outline out to the sides, I could have started here and come across and come down and around like it did here, and then come out to here and come all the way up and across and down. So it just depends on where you want to make the area. So you could do something like that, but I will tell you, I love this kind of work far better. I think this is the fun part. This is really the custom quilting of your panel. So that is how easy it is to do a custom quilting piece. Let's go over the steps one more time. Let's bring our design we've been working in. I'm going to click on this background piece and I'm going to delete it. Okay, so let us click on our little beard here and delete it. And I want to show you, walk you through the steps now. Just the steps. I'm not going to add any additional info on this one. So we've come up here. Let's delete our number and start all the way from scratch. We've come up here, click note. Come over to note and give it a number and click apply. Okay, once you've applied, you'll have to come over here and make that number bigger so you can see it. I right click on my black swatch so that I can see the number through the custom quilting. Now I'm ready to define the area in which I'm going to put my quilting. So I'm going to hold down my control button, click my run stitch button, and now I'm going to trace my design area. The closer your clicks are together, the finer your design will be. It'll have a finer outline to it. If you just do them far apart, it will do a more general outline. So when you're in the intricate spaces, make those little designs closer, those little dots closer together. And when you're far away, you can make them a little farther apart. Here's my design. Now I'm going to come up and say copy and paste. That gives me a secondary run stitch. I'm going to come over to my transformation box. And for that second one, I'm going to make it 90% and click apply. Now I have two outlines. One is going to be the outline of the entire area, and one is going to be the outline where I will put my quilting. Now I will choose from my quilting stitches that are available. I'm going to come into the motifs. And I'll choose this one. That's good. I like that one. That came in as a fairly tight bit of quilting. So I come over to here and I change my pattern length. And I'm going to change that to a 25. We'll see what it looks like. Yeah, I like that better. Then I will come up here and say copy, paste, run stitch. Okay. Now I'm going to highlight everything and I'm going to do right click on the color so I can see my thread. There we go. And now I'm going to group it. Now I can see the stitches and the thread color that I've chosen. Now I would save it and create my template and move on to my next piece. You can do the designing for everything and then come back and save your designs and do your templates. I like doing them as I go so I don't forget. Okay, so that is how simple it is to custom quilt a panel. I told you earlier, let's see, is it still in here? Here is my Hoffman Dream Panel that I'm working on. I have 5 of my petals done. Now with the Hoffman panel, the idea is to do different parts, each petal in a different color. However, when I'm getting into this piece and these small pieces, like I might group those two together. Again, I'll need to make sure that that piece will fit in my biggest hoop. My biggest hoop is 9.5 by 14. So I know that even out here in these larger petals, I can get one design in my hoop. So just make sure that when you're choosing the area to create your outline, that it will fit in your hoop. And how to do that is, let's go back into our gnome panel here. I'm just going to click on my border. I'm going to do a quick little draw around the hat here, so I can show you where you see your sizing. Always start and finish in the same spot. Click. Now, if I come over here to my transformation box, it will tell me how big this area is. So if I only have a 4x4 frame, this is going to be a little bit big. So I might need to do this band right here as a separate piece. Okay. If you have at least a 5x7 hoop, you'll easily fit that into your 5x7 hoop. So if you have a tiny hoop, you can still do this. You're just going to have to choose areas. Now, you could choose the same quilting for both areas so that it matches up, but you're probably going to have to do it in smaller chunks so that your design fits in your hoop. Okay. So let's go back into our regular area. Whoops. There we go. And remove that. So that is creating the custom quilting for your panels. Super easy. Hoffman Dream Panel. If you have your own little gnome panel, any panel that you have. And like I said, there are some really beautiful ones out there. In fact, at my local quilt guild, we are putting custom quilting with your embroidery machine as a category now for our every other year quilt show, because a lot of the ladies in my area have this software and do their quilting on their own on their embroidery machine. So it's now been added in as an actual design category for our local quilt show. So you can do lots with this program, but I wanted to show you today how you could do your custom quilting for your panels. Tomorrow's video will be moving it from the software onto our machine, working with our quilt sandwich and with our templates. So until next time, everybody, go sew life beautiful. Start working on those panels that you love and creating some really beautiful pieces. When you create a piece, folks, based on something you've learned in the lesson, do a hashtag and post a picture with the hashtag Sew in Common. That way we can see them and we can share them with everybody and show everybody your beautiful work. Don't forget, you can contact me here, or you can contact me at my website, okay? I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye for now.